No video. That's not gonna do. Okay, what's going on here? What do you think, guys? What the heck? Oh, there we go. Hey, but we have a problem. Problem is, you can see my magical wall. I can take care of that. Oh, that's right. Behind me, you see a chart. This chart is actually built into my wall. It's a holographic projection, and I'm surrounded by charts at all times. Have you ever tried virtual reality? I once did, and I tried to set up like a whole array of charts. It was kind of crazy. Not all that different than having a bunch of monitors. But if you've worn a VR headset for more than 5 minutes, you know the limitations of that technology. And here we are back in front of our monitors. Welcome to not the midday review. It is the weekly wrap up. It is Friday, March 10th. My name is Jason, and I'm going to be doing my best to talk through the chaos that has been today's action. Thanks, banks. Thanks, bears. Great day if you're a bear. Absolutely wonderful day if you're a bear. And there's actually been a couple of good opportunities, mostly in the bear side of things. I'm going to point out those because there's some really good lessons out there today. But what we're going to do is go through our indices. We're going to check out the dollar, which has kind of broken its correlation a little bit. Look at natural gas, some oil, maybe some gold. Look at some Bitcoins and any tickers that you guys want to check out. And the idea is just to get a sense of what the heck happened this week and today and get ready for next week. All right. I suspect that the audio is all good. I can see the histogram popping up. If you have any tickers you want to take a look at, feel free to post them. If you have any questions, I'll do my very best to answer those as well. So let's take a look at what's happening out there. Looks like this. Okay. Lots of news coming out about the banks. So yeah, that's the big story of the day. We did a video this morning on the TikTok and on Twitter for the hot list. So it's basically looking at Silicon Valley Bank and talking about its potential volatility. Of course, today it didn't do anything, but that fear has really trickled over into a lot of the other bank names. XLF was what we were watching primarily today, and we were looking for a lot of crazy trade setups in that sector. Ultimately, on the day for XLF, we have ended up with a bit of a doji on a very high volume. So what happens Monday is largely going to be dictated by what sort of market sentiment comes out over the weekend. If there are any sort of news releases that either add to the fear cycle or alleviate the fear cycle, that's really going to have a big impact. So swinging XLF over the weekend is a little bit of a dicey maneuver, not something I would be interested in doing, okay? With that said, we have to take a look at, oh yes, individual names I want to check out. You know what? Let's do the indices. We'll come back to these individual names. All right. Taking a peek here. Let's close that guy. Should we close this guy too? Yeah, let's close him. All right. We'll come back to those. Let's first check out ES on the weekly time frame. So as we go into the end of the week, a lot of the questions are going to be, are we in weekly downtrends? Are we in daily downtrends? What is our support lows? How far are we going to go? Is the sky falling? Is this 2008? Great questions. I can't answer the 2008 question. I can tell you that there's a lot of panic. And when there's a lot of panic, there's generally a lot of good long-term opportunities. The problem is finding the bottom of that panic before things start to turn around, right? So that's why we step back from the panic and the chatter, and we spend some time on our own individual analysis and our own individual perception of the market. And if you have a good community of people to guide you through that sort of analysis, taking the information that they're able to give you, acting as a second layer of thought, you can do okay. So hopefully together we can take a look at some larger term time frame analysis for our major indices. We'll take a look at the QQQ and SPY as well and get a sense of where exactly are we. Today seems like a scary day, but in the grand scheme of things, is it as scary as it feels? Will you remember today in a month? Chances are great you don't remember how you were feeling on this day, or maybe even these two, or I should say these weeks, right? We tend to really grasp onto short-term fear and let it impact our short-term decisions. But realistically, we as traders have a very, very short memory for what the market does, okay? So we need to keep that in mind. Thank you, Tiffany. By the way, Tiffany, super awesome that you're crushing the Orange Theory. Sometimes I only go to the gym because I know you're going to go, and then I'm going to look bad if I don't go. So the system's working. Our little fitness community is working. All right, you're guilting me into it. In fact, you're going to guilt me into going today. Yes, weekly time frame. Are we in a weekly downtrend? No, we're not. So let's go look at that. We're in a little bit of a trend neutrality. Perhaps that's the most I'll give you. Where's my drawing? There we go. So here's our low. Then we have arguably a high up here, a higher low, got a higher high because we're over this 4180 level. So let's go mark in that. We pierced the top and we've come back down. So now our next low, that absolute low, and we're looking for that curve. All right. These little deviations I'm not so interested in. I want to know what's happening in the bigger picture. So as I'm drawing in where I'm going to put my lows, I'm going to go all the way down here to 3,788. And the reason I'm not looking at this low or that one is a higher low or lower high is because I'm looking at the bigger picture. That's just a minor deviation on the daily time frame. The weekly, the big up. How high could the bulls get before they saw a turn? How low could the bears get before the bulls stepped back in? This little reverberation over here doesn't constitute a weekly high or low for me, okay? We would need a big green candle over that week's high in order to lock in, and we'd have to close that candle for it to matter. So we are still in on ES, a weekly uptrend. So we have a big weekly support that we can fall to. Now, when we switch to the daily time frame, it's not going to look that far away because today's a pretty scary day. Yesterday was a pretty scary day. So a couple more days of that momentum, we're going to be at that weekly support, okay? But right now, we're in a weekly uptrend. We're still looking, bulls are still in control on the weekly. Daily time frame, there is a little bit of the scarier looking action. Big red day, big red day. Two more of those, we're going to be back at weekly support, right? But at this pace, we will be daily oversold. There's a little gray line here. I'm not sure you can see it. Let's go pop that thing and make it a little bit stronger. Let's ramp it up. Is that our level? Yeah, let's make it purple. By the time, let's say we get 2 or 3 more days of big red action, we're going to hit daily oversold levels. Daily oversold levels near weekly support is a nice combination of ingredients to be looking for hourly and 4-hour bounces. So we're always going to be stocking these opportunities. And until that happens, we're going to have a short bias, right? We're going to be influenced by what happens over the weekend as far as news cycles go. We already talked about that. But in the daily time frame, we're going to be bearish until we have a reason to believe we're not. Our next obstacle is daily oversold with weekly support. We have a weekly uptrend. We are looking for a trough low. So we'd like to see our daily oversold before a bounce. The height of that bounce will dictate whether or not we switch our bias looking for a daily higher low. So at this point, I'd like to see this bounce. I'm going to be looking for a lower high unless we can get really high up, and then I'm going to switch my bias looking for that higher low, and then that's going to look a little bit like the weekly time frame did over here. We have our low, lower low, higher low. You get the idea? It's a highly speculative price action on ES. Keep your eye out for daily oversold. Should we get down there in a hurry? We're looking at stack oversold conditions. Our 4-hour time frame is skipping across and down, grinding the RSI, almost pushing into oversold conditions, but we have a nice hourly downtrend now, and bears are in control. Okay? So until we get an hourly trend change, we are bearish, and we have a lot of room on the hourly time frame. Remember, this is our weekly support level. We could do the hourly dance and get down there and then have a nice break. So watching those breaks, those deviations in pattern behavior are really core to my trading style right now. And oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to take this opportunity to deviate just a little bit because I love to do that. Before we get into the other indices, I want to show you an example of the power of pattern change recognition. It was, which ticker? Shoot. I just closed it too. This guy. That's right, Charles Schwab. All right, so a lot of times you guys will hear me talking about the importance of patterns of behavior. We will continue to do something until something changes. And it is recognizing when we have structure of behavior, and it is important to recognize when that behavior changes. So I posted this one in the Chart Guys. I posted it on my Twitter account. Oh yeah, let's flog ourselves a little bit. So, hey, my name's Chart Guys Jason. I'm gonna drag this across 3 monitors. Here we are. This is me. You can follow me on Twitter. It's super cool. And that's all I have to say. So I posted this little algorithmic buying post in the Chart Guys community, and I posted it on Twitter. And it's a really nice example of behavioral change, okay? So on ES, hourly time frame, bears in control until they change that pattern of behavior. We have a direction. We're looking for that deviation. Pattern of behavior is really, really useful. Here's an example of it. On the Schwab 2-minute time frame, we see a lot of chop and volatility. And then suddenly we see the price just starting to move up in an incredibly organized way. And the problem with this algorithmic buying, and that's what we're looking at, is it is so structured and it is so perfect. It's once you determine that you have algorithmic buying, if you're able to, and the trick is recognizing when you're having it early on, you can get into some really nice plays. However, the difficulty is recognizing when you're in that structure before it's too late. So by the time we got up into this level, I think where I posted it in the chat room, it was already going on too long. So I wasn't interested in a long position. I was looking for that change of pattern, that behavioral shift to occur for a position opportunity. And I was a little hesitant. In fact, I didn't say it was a short opportunity, even though it really was. Yeah. So 1 minute time frame for Charles Schwab. 2 minute, beautiful pattern recognition. Come on, where are you now? There we go. And then the question is, okay, great. You can recognize algorithmic buying. How do we recognize the pattern of behavior shift? We go to the 5 minute time frame, and we can use some of our classic Dan the Man Chart Guys tools. We have a 5 minute stair step that is how deep? Pretty deep, right? Let's go, let's say 8 to 10 candlesticks. I'm not going to count them. It's too hard. $64 psychological, right? Break that level, fail to get over the high of day. That pattern and that algorithmic buying has ceased. The robots who are responsible for this push have stopped their buying. We get into a little bit of volatility of retail, trying to get excited, trying to FOMO in, trying to capture what is probably or possibly could be a 2 minute high or low, right? And we fail to do that. And then we have this big protracted downtrend. So recognizing patterns of behavior in place and recognizing when they shift can be really, really key. So as we go back to our ES to bring it all back to our lesson, we're going to be looking for this sort of behavior to shift, this 15-minute downtrend to shift into something else, hourly time frame to shift into something else. And when that shift occurs, that's when we get our opportunities. So look for that sort of behavioral shift as we approach, and if we do approach, our weekly support level and our daily RSI 30 level. So let's project that out. And let's say in the hourly time frame, that's what we get down to. Combo that with a 1 hour and daily oversold to a stack oversold condition. You're looking at a lot of ingredients that you need to make some bull cookies. All right. Hey, Staxers. Staxers is my new friend. He's watching on Twitch. He's one of 2 people. I'll have you guys know I have ballooned on Twitch to 13 followers. No big deal. Pretty much taken over that platform. Start getting some Twitch hats and some Twitch shirts. It's going to be a matter of time. All right, so we've established what we're going to look for on ES. Let's go take a look at the NQ. NQ's got a lot more room for weekly higher lows. So this little run that we have seen over the past couple months has really favored the NQ bulls. And this indice is in better shape than a couple of the other ones. We're getting a little bit of divergence, especially when we compare to the Russell IWM, the dirty Russell. We have a weekly uptrend. We got 1, 2. We're looking for another weekly high or low here. We're still holding in the area of our EMA 12 and 26. These little red lines coming together here. And bulls are doing their best to hold on. If we are going to lose our weekly support here, we do have a variety of these weekly highs. And as we dig into it, we're going to see that there are some former daily areas of resistance that may be coming in to act as daily support levels. So over here we have a resistance. We're close to it. Got our little I'm not going to call it a gap here. But we have this area of support and former resistance that we can look at for our little zone of reversal. And that's really all it is. There's nothing proven at this point. It's just we've dipped into that area before, rejected from it. We've dipped into it below, and buyers have been interested on the one time that we have got into that area. And when we got close to it, buyers were interested again. So will we be interested should we get back down there? That remains to be seen. On the weekly time frame, I don't hate this little pattern yet, and we have a lot of room for weekly higher lows over top of our EMAs. On the daily time frame, however, we are in a daily downtrend. So we have our highs, our lows, lower highs, and we're facing off with the support at 11,832.50. Now, given how much weakness and fear we have seen in our market today, NQ, it's not really doing all that bad, all things considered, is it? Nice little 15-minute protracted downtrend, and bulls are just looking to hold on and ride out this sort of fear. Now remember, the Nasdaq is predominantly tech-based, so it's not going to be seeing as much of the sucker punching that we have seen on the SPY or the ES or some of our other names here. But as far as our two major indices go, our ES has room for weekly higher lows, and our NQ also has room for weekly higher lows. NQ in much better shape. Take a look at some questions. Polychron, hey buddy. Hey, I'm with the 3 active viewers on the Twitch. That's great. And I got a stream going on, let's see. Hold on. 2 viewers. Oh, on Twitter. Hey guys, thank you. I appreciate you watching there. I'm trying out the multi-streaming. Trying to get the old chart guys community, a few more awesome people. Hey, we got Osimo. We got Osimo direct from TradingView into the community now, and I know he rocked this this short position. In fact, he may still be in it. I'm not sure, but he told me it was a week maker, and that is gorgeous, especially in a day like today. Can you imagine like being able to have a community that can pick out little plays like that for you when everything else is just crushed, and you're able to check that bias and be like, all right, team think, group think, technical, let's remove emotions. What's the most likely scenario here? And then you have a whole team of people doing that. It's wonderful. I may be a little bit biased, but I think these chart guys are onto something. All right, let's go take a look at YWM. So the Dow, not in as great shape, and certainly seeing a lot more of the bear side of things this week. As far as our monthly time frame goes, let's go out a little bit further. Yeah, we've got a monthly higher high, and we're looking for maybe a monthly higher low, but really we're not in a monthly uptrend. We have an opportunity, which means we're trend neutral. So whereas our ES and our NQ are technically in weekly uptrends, right now we are flat on the Dow. I've lost my drawing tool. Where is it? I feel like sometimes the TradingView just plays tricks on me. There we go. So what we need to do is get a higher low here. And then we have an opportunity to change the trend. So right now we are just this way. And that is not great. It's all relative. It's not great for the bulls. All right, weekly time frame, weekly downtrend. I want to correct myself. I may have said that the Dow was sideways on the weekly, but that was a mistake. It's sideways on the monthly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we are clearly in a downtrend. So high, low, lower, high, lower, low. Now, what we can do with this information is we can go and look at the daily time frame. We can look for our RSI trend-based plays. By that, we will go, and we don't have any. But if you look, search RSI for beginners for chart guys, I think I have a video up there. If not there, it's definitely in the education page about using trendline support on our RSIs as trend lows. Okay, weekly time frame for YWM is in a downtrend. The daily time frame is in a downtrend approaching daily oversold. What support levels have we, if any? Looks like we've got a wick low from our daily low over here, 31.78. That would coincide relatively closely with our daily oversold condition here, which is not too far off from a place that we would be if our daily or the ES saw oversold conditions as well. So not dissimilar in distance. What we would like to see would be both of those to be hitting that sort of level at the same time for double technical plays. And ideally that triggers more algorithmic type interest in the market, trying to find a technical bounce, and then retail using the little bit of an upward boost. Consider like a trampoline when you use to double bounce each other. That's the sort of thing we're looking for. We want some help, and then we want to help the help, and then that help's going to help us help each other. Make sense? Hopefully it does. Daily time frame, not a lot here. 4-hour downtrend for the bears. And our hourly, our big drop, relatively solid bounce here on the hourly time frame. So we have room for a 15-minute higher low, should the bulls want to get that. But it's a lot of work to do. Beautiful 15-minute oversold bounce. Look, we just nicked into that. That lower wick just triggered some interest. So I love to see the algorithmic buying coming into play when we hit those technical levels. But now it's up to the bulls to establish 15-minute higher lows over here. So let's keep our minds sharp. Weekly time frame for the ES, looking for a higher low. For the NQ, looking for a higher low. However, our YWM or Dow, is it a weekly downtrend? It is near lows. We'd like to see that come back up on the daily time frame, and we need that sort of support to help our NQ or ES find a higher low. Do you think he's counting the ducks? Oh, mom and dad don't. Got it. Got it. I'll have you know, my mom has no idea what I do, and my dad thinks it's not a real job because I'm at home. He's super old school, and if you're not out getting your hands dirty, you don't have a job. So that's fun. Yeah. Not bitter about that one or anything. All right, let's go take a look at the Russell, the dirty Russell. So the Russell is really good and very important to be paying attention to because it's led the way quite a bit in the longer term. The last few months is definitely been like an early canary for a lot of moves. We had our weekly inside bar that broke bear, and we saw everyone follow through. We had another weekly inside bar that broke bear. We saw a lot of follow through. The weekly time frame here is seeing a lot of fear in the Russell, and we're coming on weekly support in a hurry. We are daily oversold already on the Russell, and we are not far away from hitting weekly levels. If we are to break 1730.8, that is going to trigger quite a bit of fear because we will have lost the weekly uptrend, and I'm going to be paying particular attention to this. If we break the weekly low, we're far more likely to see weekly lower highs on any attempt on NQ and any attempt on our ES as well. 1730.8 key level for the Russ. Daily time frame, as I said, we hit that daily oversold, potential volume climax. 4-hour time frame, grinding lower, and all eyes on technical signals that need to occur. Behavioral changes over 1730. Right now, bears in complete control. There is room for a higher low in the 15-minute time frame, but until that shapes up, I'd be very cautious on the Russell. Taking a look at our internals today, a little bit all over the place, right? We saw a lot of volatility, and it was more visible. I don't like the internals data that TradingView gives us for the Nasdaq. It seems to be pretty punchy all over the place, big spikes. So let's go take a look at the NYSE side of things, because there are some big swings. And what I don't like to see are these big swings back and forth. That just shows a ton of uncertainty, and it's just massive amounts of like a herd of people almost. Like, what's the better term for it? Individuals, I trust. People, I trust. Massive groups of people who are afraid, mobs, completely unhinged. And that was really what the volume was reflecting here. We saw mob mentality running in and out and around the market, trying to follow algorithms, just complete panic and fear. How many times we hit big ticks to extremes? Over 1,000 multiple times to the downside and to the upside. So huge fluxes of emotional buying in both directions, and that volume really shifted around, which made it very, very difficult. Right? But we know, having looked at the ADV and the overall trajectory of our volume, that it was predominantly bearish. Even though price was giving us balance, and even these periods of bull expression, we know that we were looking for shorts, right? So we had a little bit of a short bias on the day just because volume was particularly bearish, and our ADD, and this is a big tell, this is the vast majority of our tickers were supportive of the bears. They're under yesterday's close, so they were red, right? So pretty interesting as far as the internals go. Here's what I mean with our Nasdaq. Big chonky trading. Not really sure that's reliable data, but overall balance, excitement, bears. A bear lean on the day for the Nasdaq and the QQQ. All right, so going into next week, a couple of, well, there are a multitude of opportunities, and we'll have to see what Lori has to say on her Monday morning show once we settle in after having Sunday's futures play out a little bit. But at this point, I would be completely unsurprised to see another red day into some more extreme conditions before we get a little bit of a bounce going. I would like our ES to hold our weekly time frame, get close to that daily oversold, and see how much action we can get at that level. I would also like to see our NQ hold that support. Best case scenario, of course, for our YWM to get closer to its area of daily oversold as well. And at the same time, looking for our friends at the Dirty Russell factory to maintain over 1730.8. All right. Cool. Two of the best. Absolutely, you guys. All right, so we've looked at our indices. We spent a good 25 minutes talking about them. Hopefully we understand what we're doing. Let's go take a look at the dollar. The dollar, interestingly, has kind of broken some correlation here with our ES. Actually, let's reload this chart just to make sure we've got the right data. Yeah, ideally you want these things to be trading inverse. And at this point, we've really started to break away from that, and in the hourly time frame, we'll see if that shapes up a little bit better. But it's pretty interesting how this is working out. The ES really pulling back, and the dollar, they don't look like they're in the same shape anymore. So what we're going to do here is just look at the dollar itself and not worry too much about that correlation. On the weekly time frame, let's go out to the monthly. By the way, guys, if you have any questions about anything that I'm saying, you're more than welcome to plug it in here. And I got a couple of ticker requests to do as well. So I'm going to do this, and we'll do the ticker requests, and we'll look at a couple other things. We have 18 minutes left for the weekend. Okay, dollar, monthly time frame. We are looking for a monthly high or low. We have a ton of room to do that in. The weekly time frame looks good. So we're up in an area of weekly, let's call it supply. I'm not really settled on the term. The problem with the terminology is that so many of the same terms are borrowed from each other, right? So supply can mean different things depending on what type of trading strategy you are looking at. What I'm trying to express is, let's go and plug in a horizontal ray. Let's take the high of the week of December 5th. Let's plug it in. Now, when we look to our left, we can see that this area has become area of support. Right, we bounced off of it. We bounced off of it here. We fought around it multiple times, and we fought about it here multiple times. So this is a particularly interesting zone for us to be paying attention to. And instead of using a hard and fast line like that, what I want to do is go to try to find like a nice little rectangle I can put into play. So I'm going to take that high, and I'm going to take that low, and I'm going to say, you know what, this encompasses most of the fighting that we've been doing. All right, a lot of battlegrounds have happened here. So on the weekly time frame, I'm looking for a reversal in that area. Until we are able to get over top of it, it is going to be an obstacle for us. We are smoking into it and falling back down. At this point, we have a higher high and a lower low, so we've got the potential for broadening formation areas of resistance. So I leave this on my chart and I say, you know what? That's just fine if and only if we get back up into this area and beyond our daily highs into this rectangle, I will be looking to scale out against that broadening formation resistance. And if I am feeling hyper vigilant and maybe just on the perfect in the zone, looking for a short in that area, looking for a daily high or low. All right. Daily time frame is telling us we are uncertain of what's happening. We're going up and we're going down. We're having volatility. We don't have direction. We are trying to find out what we want to do. 4-hour time frame, big fall off following the bank news. There is data coming out on Tuesday, so we have to be careful about that as well. But as for now, right now we have a good solid bounce on the hourly time frame. There it is. Is it bear flaggish? Not particularly at this point. Settling in to a bit of a 5-minute and 15-minute sideways range. Room for hourly higher lows, and I would not be surprised to see a bit of drift back up here. I'd like to see things settle down a little bit on the dollar, get higher low, and then gravitate back up toward that broadening formation high. At the same time, I'm not looking for a long position until, well, tinnitus happening, until we get that trend set. So it's very possible we'll come down and set a more effective relational trend line to the resistance that makes a little bit more sense. So maybe just dipping back down here to make it a little bit more symmetrical. And that would coincide pretty well with where our next 4-hour touch on the RSI would be as well. Lots of speculation. It's a real fancy way of me saying we don't really have a trend right now on the 4-hour or the hourly. We're sort of just janking around. We don't have a home yet. Okay. Let's go. What's up? We're going to find some tickers for you guys. Let's do it. Okay. We have to look at Tesla for the Phoebes. All right, let's remove all of our bias about what's happening in the market right now. Okay. Let's look at each chart independently, because that's what we have to do in reality. Clearing our bias is the difficult part. So on the weekly time frame for Tesla, we have our big weekly low at 181. We've pulled like 100% move up to establish a weekly higher high. Now we are looking for a weekly higher low. Anything over 101.81 is going to give us what we need. Okay, we're starting to knock out weekly support levels. We got a good flush today, and we got a big daily support over here. So what I'd like to see the weekly bulls do is maintain above that level. There's certainly going to be some stop orders there. And if we get a little flush intraday and we come back up, that will be a good thing. But I don't want to flush that and have it act as an area of resistance on the way back up. Somewhat like we did see on Tesla yesterday. So let's go look at that, then we'll come back. Where were we yesterday? Yes. We got really close to it. So we had a double bottom, 5-minute time frame, 180.71, 180.73. We had a descending triangle formation with double bottom support, clear area of resistance. We're going to draw like that. That's pretty good. So let's say this is it. We get our bull break. Nothing happened. We didn't even get a 5-minute higher high. Then we broke that level, came back down, came back up, proves itself as an area of resistance with anxious sellers. And we know that they're anxious because they're selling below the double bottom price. They've outpaced each other a little bit to get their bids in on the ask. And then that's as high as the price got. So we're looking for something similar should the daily bulls, weekly bulls, where are we? Come on now. Oh, why does it do that? Should the weekly bulls get back under our 162.78, right? We got to be cautious about that big flush. The big flush down is more likely to see a little bit of a daily consolidation into daily lower highs under that level. Pull back and retest is not what we want. Until that happens, we are going to be watching the 4-hour time frame, and I know we're going to be watching the hourly and the 4-hour because we have multiple red days in a row. So the trends that we're watching are less likely to be on the daily time frame. In fact, we don't really have a trend that's particularly useful on the daily time frame. We're going to be looking for that hourly or that 4-hour to change into consolidation mode for the bears to give bulls opportunity up into the 185s. So the 4-hour time frame hasn't changed. Look at that. Just 4-hour bears. Hourly time frame bears. Right? We need an hourly trend change. I need to see bulls over today's high of day over 178, and then I'm going to be up to the 185s. That would be the best case for the bulls. At this point, lower highs set. If the bears are able to break the low of day or the low of afternoon, then I'm going to be looking back down here and getting more interested as we get closer to the 162.78 area. What I would like to see on Monday for the Tesla long position intraday would be positive news in markets or a lack of bearish news in markets, a break over today's high of day, hourly higher lows, scaling out toward the 185.18 level, because that coincides well with our daily EMA 12. Or should be right about there, right? 5-minute time frame for Tesla, just in case. It's a real balancing rangy day, isn't it? Yeah. Not a lot here to tell you, my man. 15-minute bears in control. 5-minute bulls in control. Nope. They had it. No one's in control of Tesla. We are on autopilot, and the code has some bugs. So the clarity for me, it's going to be on the hourly for Tesla. Laura here's posting some news all related to the Silicon Valley Bank. BBBY running into close. We got a few minutes left here. Let's see a little short squeeze action. Let's see. 5-minute time frame. Yeah, a little bit of squeezers. All right, if you're a super ninja, scalpy boy or girl, 137 is your break high. You're looking for high volume on the break, and you're looking to scale out and be protected as possible. This used to be the only type of trade that I did, until I realized you don't want to buy once everyone else has already bought. Did I just say that? Indeed, I did. All right. There's always some profit in these types of breakouts. It's just usually not going to be yours. All right, let's go look at TD on the NYSE for JAS. Hey, before we do, buddy, check it out. I know you're thinking about it. Big weekly EQ bull break on the USD Canadian dollar, right? And we're seeing that continuation. Today's getting a little bit doji-like on the daily time frame, so watch that stair step. I am looking to exchange some dollars. As soon as we lose the daily higher lows at 137.611. I got a lot of USD right now, and I really like where we're at. So watching for some pullback into consolidation. All right, let's go look at TDD. DDD. TD on the NYSE. So the Canadian banks are seeing some sympathetic weakness, but they're structurally very, very different than how the American banks are operating. So I have far more faith in Canadian banks holding together in any sort of weak environment than I do in the American bank system. Weekly time frame, we're in a higher high, we're now in a lower low, so we're in a bit of a waterfall in the daily time frame. I would be looking to add in the weekly areas of resistance to some long-term holdings through dividend ETFs that are exposed to TD, which, if you're holding TD dividend funds, is most of them. 57.27 is our area of support in the weekly time frame. Our weekly area of, where's our back burner? It's not going to work here, is it? No, not enough data. All right, I would guesstimate it's got to be around that level too. On the daily time frame, picking up speed, we're daily oversold, so we're going to be interested in waiting for that weekly oversold to come into play before we're looking at long-term entries. Yeah, 4-hour time frame, stack oversold. So stack oversold all the way down, back burners active. I want weekly oversold conditions, then scouting the hourly time frame for a bull break, riding that to back burner overbought. On the hourly, all things bears right now with no real sign of control on the bulls. 15-minute equilibrium as we balance out the end of the day. So I would like to see one more little gap down on Friday. Nope. Monday. Getting a little bit closer to that weekly oversold condition. Let's see where we end up. But I really like this for a longer trade, and I will be scouting this one myself for an entry into that longer term holdings position. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what you got? Hold on. We had a little bit of a expansion of that question. We're strong. Swing. We're at a strong resistance. Would we break cuts? Likelihood of a bounce. I don't understand the question, my friend, but hopefully my analysis helped. Let me know if it didn't. I will just make a video for you after. Yum. Hey, Rob. Let's do it. Whoops. Oh, boy. All right, so we have a big old rectangle type trading action up here. So we've spent a lot of time just chopping it up in this range. And now we have finally pulled off the pullback. So we go to a weekly time frame, which should have been a bull flag, bull break, failed completely. However, we have a lot of room for consolidation. On the monthly time frame, we were looking for higher lows. We're trend neutral, actually. So EMA 12 on our monthly time frame, 122.93. Let's go plug that guy in. Weekly time frame. So I would look for like hourly, probably oversold already. 4-hour oversold, daily oversold, some magical combination of conditions in this area. And look, if we go back historically too, this has been an area of resistance and support for us. So that's going to be good. Daily time frame. It's possible we could flush into daily oversold conditions at that point. It's unlikely it's going to be on pace to catch up with us before we get to that level. 4-hour time frame, we should already be oversold. We are. So yeah, I'm looking for hourly trend changes here. We haven't seen any for a while, and I want that to occur over 122.93, and I want bulls to stay above that level on the monthly time frame. Any bounce though is just going to have me looking for 4-hour lower highs. So I'm just not a big believer in Yum after falling through just an incredible amount of sideways consolidation here. Yeah. KRE. You like my ducks, Chase? I'm so excited for them. I got 24 khaki Campbell ducks shipped all the way from Manitoba in the form of eggs. And they're now incubating. They're on day 7, and I'm proud to report that all of them are coming along well. You have to hold a flashlight up. It's called candling, and then you get to see the development of the embryo inside the egg. And then you do that like every 5 days or so just to make sure everything's coming along. Because trust me, there's nothing more disgusting than having a rotten egg heated at 100 degrees for a month and then making a mess. So make sure that everyone's coming along. And guess what? Everyone is. I'm really happy about it. So I'll post some pictures of those ducks when they show up. And I'm probably going to keep them in a box right over here so they imprint nicely. KRE weekly time frame, not great. Regional banking ETF. So really a lot of the regional banks are where we're seeing a ton of the fear coming into the market. So a huge amount of fear now. Any sort of positive news over the weekend or stability is going to have a pretty good bounce potential for KRE. So not something that I would want to swing, right? What we can predict to the best of our abilities is the technical setups. We cannot predict in any capacity the news cycle, right? So I'm not willing to hold that fear. I will wait for Monday. And I will wait for us to, let's say, open at 53.63. I'm just guessing here. And then looking for that trend change and then being able to ride that sort of happiness and momentum on the daily time frame after we have proven that we have the intention of doing so. On the daily time frame, KRE does look like a really nice reversal pattern. If we study our textbooks about doji reversal patterns, this is what they look like. Of course, we only ever look at them after they confirm, and when no one really talks about doji reversal patterns that just continue to the downside because they're not doji reversal patterns. It's survivorship bias. What do we have going in our favor? We have the fact that we do have a doji, which shows us that there is buying pressure already today. We have a lot of volume. We have exchanged 96 million shares today. A typical day, 5 million. So a pretty huge day. A lot of people coming into the market, a lot of people leaving. Hourly time frame, seeing a little bit of a dip into the end of the day, bell has rung. Okay, so indecision in place. What we're looking for tomorrow, Monday, is going to be a break of today's high of day. That's going to give us an hourly higher low, a higher high, and then we're going to have backburner overbought not too far away in the area of $58. So if you're swinging it, good luck. I hope it works out for you. I really hope this becomes a nice daily doji reversal candlestick. But me, I'll be waiting for the hourly time frame to confirm with a break over 52.89, but watching the bull volume, comparing the bull to the bear volume on any consolidation and trying to capture that hourly higher low. Okay. What are the tickers we got going on out there? AE. Sorry it took so long, buddy. Adams Resources and Energy. Okay, longer term. What the heck was that? Mystery sound. Very strange. Sorry, guys. Might have an uninvited guest in my house. Now my dog's on alert. I probably do. My kids tend to leave the doors open a lot. All right, AE, weekly time frame. We are down at our EMA 12 support. We are looking for a weekly higher low, so we have that going in long's favor. Daily time frame below our EMA 12 here. So we've got our daily downtrend. Do we have a channel? It's possible. So what we would love to be able to do in this sort of situation is draw something like this that's nice and effective that captures most of our action. Now I'm going to go grab this guy because I don't really have much else to work with. And then I'm going to correlate it to the 4-hour time frame to see if I can find 4-hour supports. And that works pretty well. Let's beef it up a bit. Okay, so we got our trend. We're backward or oversold. Didn't really matter too much, so we're at risk of falling out of the pattern here. But I would be looking on the hourly to retake. How are we trading on the... I wouldn't go much further than that. I'd be looking for bulls to break our 53.66 level. And then I'd be very careful with the break-even levels here, trying to get out of this daily channel in order to establish a weekly higher low. So look for 53.66, walk your stops. Okay. Awesimo's all out. Nice job, buddy. Good work. All right, let's go take one quick peek back at the ES and see where we ended up on the day. Oh, it's a SPY. All right, little bit of a lower wick. A little tiny lower wick tells us that the sky is not completely falling. We haven't started to cascade into oblivion. People and robots are still interested in buying down here. That's a good thing. We no longer see buying or interest in long positions. That's when we start to worry. Yes. Little red day, keeping our eye out again for oversold conditions here. NQ approaching weekly support. So we'll be looking for daily oversold conditions in that area. Or no, we will be looking for hourly trend changes in the area of our weekly support. The daily time frame on ES is where we're looking for oversold, as is YWM. The Dirty Russell is already doing its job. Ooh, nice little bounce. 15-minute higher high. Okay, guys, that's it for this weekend's review. Oh, no, I did have someone wanting to look at Bitcoin, so I will take a chance to do that. Oh boy, I had the whole window here for my YouTube friends, and then it disappeared. So I'm going to go and take a look through that. Hey, Halty, apologies for missing that. Let me go through and answer your questions. Hopefully you guys are still here. I apologize again for losing that window. Still getting used to the amount of windows and chat boxes that are available to me. And taking a look. So Bitcoin is the question. Dan has already covered this in extreme detail, like about an hour before I did. Much more panic in 2008. That's good. That's a good thing to hear. I do think Bitcoin might hit 2,300 or 20,300 within the hour. Well, you probably asked that about an hour ago. It's sideways. No idea. It's a range trade now. 4-hour time frame looks like a bear flag. Setup. Not loving it. Bulls need to break this little double top. If bulls can get over that, which is your target, then yes. Stupid way to answer your question, but right? We are in a 50-minute equilibrium. I guess if we broke 20,072, we got an opportunity to hit that high, but I wouldn't expect at this point to break much further beyond that. Is there RSI play at IWM? We covered that one. Gold, sure. Gold daily time frame, popping off like nobody's business. We have some daily closes on February 8th that are going to be acting as short-term resistances, and we have a lot of selling pressure up in that range, so be cautious about that. 4-hour time frame is overbought, so we're going to be looking for 15-minute stair steps, hourly stair steps, whatever we can get in that range. 50-minute time frame consolidating well, EQ bull break, 50-minute overbought. So yeah, not the stair step condition that I would have liked to see, but we do have one on the 4-hour time frame, and we are overbought. So consolidation is due. I would say looking for daily consolidation if we can break 1860 to the bear side. Otherwise, we have that same level as hourly support and 50-minute support. So that is a pretty key level for us right now. There's a bit of room here for the bulls to buy a 50-minute high or low above that level, but 1860 is where we should be paying the most attention to right now. People go mad at mobs. Yes, sir. TLT. Hank Lightcap wants TLT. You got it. Big gap up. How we do with momentum on that guy? Yeah. Well, let's look at resistance. Look at that. All right. 106.62 is our area resistance. A lot of volume, very little selling toward the end of the day, which is actually not much of all, which is a very good vote of confidence for the bulls. Closing near the highs is good for the bulls as well. Hourly higher lows over 104.29. I wouldn't be surprised to see this continue to the upside if we have any market weakness at all. 105.69, that's the target. Looking good. And UVIXI, look, yeah, lunar, for sure. SOL. By the way, guys, we do this 3 or 4 times a day in the chart, guys. And we have cool Zoom calls. So if you want to make friends, and who doesn't? We jump on the camera and we chat for a couple hours every week. SOL daily time frame, daily stair step pattern down. Nice volume today, dipping into daily oversold. Is this the right thing? SOL. Are you wanting to look at this or the USDT? Chad Kent, if you're still here, you come back and you tell me what you want to look at. And I'll do USD CHF for my man Stephen M. All right, Swiss franc, weekly support down here, weekly high. We just about got over this little range. So look at that. Former support, now resistance. Former support, resistance again. This is a big area for us to get over, this 941 area. All right, so daily pullback. I would be looking for a 4-hour hourly bounce down here, but the 91 to the 90.05 level. There's a pretty good amount of momentum right now, and hourly bears looking to flag out. So if bulls are unable to push above our EMA 12, I would be cautious about playing this in any direction but down, because we're looking for another bear flag play. So a bear flag like this, bear flag like that into our daily, no, not our daily support level, but for that weekly range low. Yeah. There's that big old range we're just playing in. So even on the 5-minute time frame, we're looking to break 92 and just fall right back down for a 15-minute higher low. And if we do that, and we get a higher low, guess what? That's exactly what we expect to see on an hourly bear flag. So cautious about longs on that one. Chad Kent, you got it. Okay, Chad Kent. Let's remember this joke. Who was it? I don't never trust somebody with 2 first names. I once told a girl that I had met at the bar that, and her name was Mary Ryan Kate. And it did not work out well because she, as you can imagine, had 3 names. I took personal offense to that. So it turned out I was right. Daily time frame, daily stair step down. You got it. Daily volume, nice volume climax there. So we'll be looking for a bull break of this candlestick once it closes. 1979 is our area of resistance. Until it closes, we're looking for bulls over 1877. 4-hour time frame, room for 4-hour higher lows. We're right at our EMA 12. This is what we expect to see. So we want to see an hourly higher low then over $16 psychological on the break of this consolidation. If we get that, that'll be a low, lower low, higher low. And then that's when we want that daily stair step to break, because it'll give us an hourly springboard with a bit of a stop loss for daily consolidation to the upside. EMA 12 is the target. Let's call it 1971. Crawford Glizdevil, would you say NDX, IWM, and SPX are forming falling wedges? Anytime you have a question about patterns, the most important thing to do is reference a time frame. So we can have wedges inside wedges inside wedges, and sometimes that gives us the best opportunity. But let's quickly rip through the weekly time frame, and I would say no, I don't see a wedge here. Pretty equidistant. Daily time frame, no wedges, no descending wedges, which is what we're looking for. 4-hour time frame, nope. Hourly, nah. I don't see one. And let's go look at the IWM2 just for funsies. No falling wedges there. Could have made an argument. No, even then, that's a bit of a channel. 50-minute time frame. Thank you. No wedges. So the way that I draw my wedges is I go to whatever action I anticipate to belong to the same pattern, because we go through patterns of pattern development and then price discovery. So we have breakouts where that becomes our flag, where price just goes crazy, and we have Osimo just buying up everything that he can. And then when he stops buying everything that he can, we get into our consolidation. So we'll have an upside move on the bull flag, and our market will consolidate with 5-minute lower highs and lower lows. And then we see that pattern convert back into price discovery again, because we don't know where it's going to go. We just anticipate it's going to go up. To where? Who knows? Usually the first obstacle. So when we have patterns, we have pattern formation, like the just forgot the words. We have periods of pattern development and then price discovery. So if, and I'm not saying this is a pattern, if this is our pattern, we go, all right, well, here's our period of pattern development. Here's our period of price discovery. What data do we want to include? Because we don't want to overlap. We don't want to mix patterns. If we say this belongs to a pattern, we shouldn't include it in that, because there should be a period of price consolidation and discovery outside of it. So if this is our block of data, I want everything to fit inside of it. I want to use existing data points, not the most recent data, to fit my bias. So I'd say I want this one, and I'm going to draw here on the tops of my greens, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and go grab this data, and if I only have 2, I only have 2. So using that, is that technically a wedge? Only because these lines converge eventually does it form a wedge under my rule set. But look, we've already broken what would have been drawn. And using the most recent data, it becomes a channel. And if we wait a couple hours, it may become this, may become this, may become this. So, no, I would say that's not a wedge. if we, yeah, hopefully that helps. All right, I'm 15 minutes over the stream. I'm going to go play with some animals, give some food out, hang out with my kids. It's been a wonderful week hanging out with you guys. It has been a challenging week in the markets. Hopefully the next week treats us a little bit better. And I'll see you on Monday. Take care.